Welcome to another Terranscapes video. In this video I wanted to showcase a couple quick projects that show some minor modifications that I've either made of my own or at customer requests that I thought you might find interesting to take a look at. So the first is the chapel ruins. The chapel ruins is based on Herstart's molds and is based on the Gothic church kit, if you're familiar with that. And really, I haven't done a lot of change to it, but what I've done is I've added in some more weathering and some more washes to add some more color gradients on the surface, and I've added in some of the vines, which I've shown on the crypt pieces that I did a little while ago. You can see that video in my YouTube channel. So I've added some of those vines in the interior, and just sort of, you know, dress it up just a little bit, tie it into the vegetation on the ground, I think, a little more effectively, and bring, you know, an overall unification to the piece and a little bit of more age to it, I think, to make it seem a little bit more fitting for its ruined state. The second thing I wanted to show you were a set of walls. Customer requested a pair of walls, well, two pairs actually, for his War Machine game, and he asked that I use some of the symbols from the different factions to sort of denote. I don't know if these are, I'm a little rusty on War Machine rules. I haven't read the book since Prime came out. So it seemed, though, that these might be walls that are created, you know, on the battlefield through magic, whatnot. So what I've done is, for this one, he requested that it have a Menoth symbol on it. And so I made a pair of these, and I carved the Menoth symbol into the stone and then painted it with a typical sort of Menoth-ish red. I originally wanted to put a little white in there as well, but the spot's just a little tight for me to get two colors in there with a border. My hand's not quite steady enough as the channel gets narrower and narrower as you go, you know, deeper into the stone. But overall, I think that came out pretty nicely. And then I also did one where I took a look at the Rune Bearer, which is from the Trollbloods, right? I should look that up. Anyway, let's see here if I can get those. Oh yeah, there you go. So what I've done is I've painted in some symbols. I originally was going to carve these into the stones, but because the stones are so small, really carving that without chipping the stones and creating a real mess was going to be, I think, impossible. So instead I decided to hand paint them, give them sort of a double shade, kind of a bright color, like they're, you know, the incantations causing them to glow, and just painted a few symbols on both sides of each of the walls. So there were two pairs there, one for each set. And then, as another quick view, I recently did the final mock-up of the new watercolor. If you remember, I posted a video maybe a couple weeks back on a proposed new watercolor change, and that involved teals, and customer requested this color scheme to match some photos that he had seen. And so this is the final look for that watercolor. I'm going to ship this off to the customer so he can review this. But I went with some teals and in some darker gradients in the center, a little broader based on some feedback that I got, which I think looked a little more realistic than my original version. And then I added a little bit of brown to the water effects to kind of mute that and give it a little bit of the illusion that there's some silt flowing through it, but without totally obscuring the teal effect. So that's how that came out. See what people think about that. You can notice there's still a few patches that are still clearing. It takes several days for this to actually fully clear, to go clear, as it dries on the outside in, so it takes some time in the deeper spots, but that'll clear up in just a couple days, and you get a sense of what that, there you can see the ripples in the water there. Anyway, the new water look. We'll see how that's received. And then finally, I wanted to give you a look at recently completed Waterfall. The Waterfall piece I've been offering as a standalone hill mounted on a 12 by 12 board, and it usually features a little pond at the bottom. And this customer requested that the pond be opened at the edge so that river pieces could join to it, go with the river set that he purchased. So here, I'll give you a close-up first of the waterfall. I've been working on those water effects, as always, trying to get them a little bit better and better. So I've been adding in some mist, spray effects on the fall itself, in addition to the turbulence at the bottom. and I think that's been adding a little depth to that water cascading over the edge. And I still try to maintain, a nice playable tier on the second tier, a lot of open space where miniatures could be placed. And then most importantly, rather than completing the waterfall with a pool at the bottom, I've carried that channel, whoops, there we go, right to the edge, and then sculpted this to meet the profile of the river pieces so that when they're placed together, I'll show you on a top view here, so when they're placed together, you get a nice continuous flow from the waterfall into the river set. So that just gives you a little sense of some of the minor modifications that could be made to a piece like this to accommodate either pieces of terrain that you already have or different kinds of game mechanics that you might be interested in. It doesn't really add any extra cost to this. It's a same amount of sculpting really, just terminating it at the edge of the board. And here's a little top view of what the water effects look like from above. So really, just wanted to do a quick video, show you some of those modifications, give you some ideas if you have interest in some Terranscapes products and you're interested in maybe getting a slight modification for it. Feel free to request it. I'm happy to work with you and talk about how I can make sure that Terranscapes terrain meets your tabletop gaming needs as closely as possible. So you can always visit Terranscapes.com to see photos of these once they get put up in the next day or two. Some of these pieces, as well as previous work that I've done, all the things that are in the store, contact information. There's a newsletter there where I'm updating it pretty regularly lately about new projects that I'm working on, shipping delays that might be going on based on work volume, that sort of idea. So I encourage you to check those out. And hopefully you'll look forward to the next video, and I'll try to show you something new pretty soon. Talk to you later.